Hello, welcome to Flower Juice. My name's John McDonald, and today we're going to make an arrangement using one of these. Now, if you haven't seen these are called a floral guppy. They're made in America and they come in a lovely little bag with instructions, and you get two, and you've got two halves. So it's dead easy, you just slot them together and it creates this little sphere. So this is literally going to be your mechanic for holding your flowers. And you might want to use this for making a bouquet or making an arrangement. The great advantage with this is that you're not using floral foam. It is reusable, you'll be able to use it again and again and again. So a little bit like like a modern equivalent to using wire or like chicken wire, scrunched up wire. It's giving you something, but it's giving you something that is reusable, easy to clean. So what I have here is I've got a little lantern. So this is really for putting some tea lights in, and this just fits perfectly into the top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a bit of floral fix, which is really just like a sticky putty, and we're going to warm that up with our fingers and then use that to secure. Now the great thing with this is I think you could literally make your floral guppy, depending on how you put it together, you could have the bumps on the outside or the bumps on the inside. The advantage of having them on the outside is that they actually create a little bit of a neck for holding on to things, which is better maybe. And ultimately, whichever way you do it, they're going to disappear into your design and you're not going to see. So from a structural point of view, this is working really well. Now, depending on what you're creating and how strong you want it to be, you might want to tape this as well. For this size of arrangement, we don't need to over-engineer it, that's for sure. We can just hold this onto the neck of the vase, and that'll be more than adequate. So the reason that this is going to work well as a mechanic is that you've got the support at the top of a stem, but also lower down, you've got the support within the vase on this lower level. And it's these 2 points of contact that are really going to create the support that's needed for our flowers. So material wise, I've got a few different materials. We've got just a mix of stuff that I found in the garden. I've got some lovely little autumn chrysanthemums, we've got some lavender, I've got a few dahlias, even a little bit of iris foliage. We've got just a nice mix, but as you can see, we can put material in, and because it's holding it at those 2 points, then you're able to really angle your material how you like it. So let's just create a nice arrangement for going in your home. So I think the best is to use our kind of lower material first. Now, a lot of arrangements, people tend to start with the foliage first. You don't have to. There's different ways to create designs. But generally, it's what order are you going to put things in that they're going to sit nicely is a better way to look at it. So we'll just strengthen that line for our iris. And we can actually make this so it's kind of like an all-round arrangement. But you can see that this is giving us lots of support for our flowers, and we can come in at lots of different angles. So even with this one, we can use that little bit of grass off-cut to give us another little bit of interest. And this is 1 or 2 dahlias that I had still in the garden. So this is quite a heavy stem, but our floral guppy will handle that, not a problem. This is really quite a beautiful dahlia, and it's really at its best just now. It kind of was a little bit behind some of the others. What I like with the dahlias is that we're also getting that foliage that's with them. So as long as it's had a good drink, then it's really going to be quite happy just keeping that foliage on. Sometimes people like to strip off the foliage that comes with flowers. You don't want any foliage that is going down into your water, but you do want to use the foliage if it's in good condition. There's no reason why not. So we're just going to have our dahlias really towards the centre of our design because they're quite visually heavy. And our secondary flower is really these lovely little chrysanthemums. Also got a nice little arabicum. And also some last of the lavender is quite pretty. So again, just be careful to strip off the leaves that would go down into the water. We don't really want that. And the effect that I'm really hoping to get here is really just like an open, simple garden style that's not too constructed or commercial. And that's really great. So you're wanting to just vary your length of stems, vary your materials, vary your textures as well. So like adding these grasses, this is a miscanthus grass. It's just giving us texture that is quite interesting. A little bit seasonal. But we just start to build up. So we do have lines in our design. I can bring a dahlia through the back, so that's taking our eye through there. And I do have this dahlia as well. Out of all the dahlias I've had this year, the orange ones have been fantastic, but this colour as well has just been so proficient and so prolific. It's been amazing. Unfortunately, I've only really got the one plant of it, so I've got to really look after those tubers at the end of this summer. And we can just have another wee look for a little bit more of the chrysanthemum. So as you can see, we don't need any fancy materials. We can just see what we've got. If you've got access to garden material, it's going to give you a really nice look that's not so commercial. And you don't need to have exactly the same materials that I have. You just need to get that mix to give you a similar sort of a look. So just looking at our design now, I'm just going to double check what it needs. So I'm looking here and I'm thinking this is a little bit flat, a little bit empty. If we bring in a grass there, that's giving it a bit more depth. And we can just actually bring in another grass just up into that centre. So I'm just being careful not to damage materials as we go in. So I think the floral guppy is quite an interesting product to have. So just as you would have floral foam or pin holders, chicken wire, it's another material that you can use as a mechanic for making an arrangement. So what we've created here is quite a simple design, but it's totally secure because of that mechanic that's holding all the stems. Whereas if we were to do this maybe in a hand-tied way, we'd end up using a lot more material and it would be pulled closer together. This allows us to keep it a little bit lighter and a little bit freer. So I hope you've enjoyed today's design. If you have, click here to subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.